Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Let's Talk Automotive episode 13, Pete.
Our baker's dozen have been waiting for this.
Welcome, Peter Viljoen, and welcome to the viewers on raceday.tv, FS Media, and FS Auto. We've got a fun and awesome show packed for us tonight. We've got the latest news. We've got Sasha Martiningo joining us. We're going to talk a bit of F1.
What an awesome surprise.
We've got Heinrich du Preez talking to us about everything Cobra. We've got Guess the Car Game, which you still suck, by the way. And we've got How It Works with Professor Peter Viljoen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Let's Talk Automotive. All right, so let's jump right into the news. The biggest news in the automotive world this week was the return of F1, and we thought that who else to get on the show tonight? Sasha Martiningo, thank you very much for joining us. How are you doing?
Fanie, Peter, I'm terrific, man. Thanks very much for the invite onto your great show. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, man. Well. So, It's back with a bang. How was this weekend? How did you find last weekend's race?
You know, Fanie, it was one of those where I just went, please, Formula One, deliver something a little bit special, because number one, the world needs it, and number two, the world of Formula One needs it. And man, they did not disappoint. It was a stunning race, and very unpredictable, and very, very expected of a first race of the season.
Yeah, so first of all, it started out with a lot of politics.
Yeah, I mean, I almost nearly didn't watch. I was so over all the shenanigans, but boy, was I glad that I tuned in. What an incredible race.
What was your take on that, Sash?
Yeah, you know, I think it's wonderful what Lewis Hamilton is doing. He's getting a lot of flack from a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people truly understand what he's trying to do. And you know what? You can't believe everything in the reports where, you know, there were these really sad comments and reports that came out that the drivers didn't agree and they weren't going to take the knee. And
yes,
you know what? Everything was discussed to sit there and say, you know what? It's an end racism. And that's what the whole thing is about for Formula One. And that's what Formula One has taken a stance on.
Yes.
And everybody is entitled to acknowledge it in their own way. By taking the knee was a preference that Lewis Hamilton wanted to do, and he was going to do, and there were various drivers who did it. For the rest, everyone agrees on the same principle about ending racism, and I think that's what's important. You know, if people want to get upset about these kind of things, then I'll be honest, then they must be well balanced. They must have a chip on each shoulder. Let these guys go out there and advocate and do what they want. Whether I agree with it or you agree with it or you don't agree with it, you know what? It's their doing. Let's just enjoy the racing. Yeah. So, you know, well done to them for taking a stance and let it be now. The one thing I will say is I do hope that Lewis Hamilton now comes out and starts a foundation and does something that he can be proud of, and his legacy when he eventually finishes in Formula One, people will be able to say, yes, the greatest racing driver, the most wins, the et cetera, but look what else he's done. And I really, really believe that's something that he needs to do.
But I also think that the people underestimate the risk that Lewis Hamilton takes in doing this kind of thing as well. And I think what he's been very successful at doing is actually really making this at the top of everybody's minds when it comes to sports in general, and I suppose the message that he's got and what he's trying to achieve. So I think in that respect, we've got to actually tip our hats to him and say he's got the message out there.
Yeah, Peter, 100%. You know, exactly. He knew that he was going to get flack on you know, from certain levels, and he was going to get a tremendous amount of support from other sides as well. It's a very, very complicated discussion, and everybody's going to have a different kind of opinion on it. But, you know, well done to him. He's taken a stance. He's got Formula One behind him as well. He's got a huge following all around the world. And if you actually just listen to him as opposed to all of the other press, you actually understand what he's talking about. He's not talking about black versus white. He's honestly just talking about something that he's passionate about and saying, you know what, it shouldn't be there, and he's trying his best to get rid of it. So, well done to him, and hopefully, they do eradicate racism across the world in any aspect of life.
Yep, no, 100%.
Let's get to the racing. That was, I was nailed to the TV and couldn't stop watching. And thank goodness for a couple of incidents and whatever the case is. What was your take on, first of all, the reliability of the cars on that track, Sash? A lot of cars broke down.
Yeah, Fanie, this is where, I think a lot of people, we misjudge it. Even though the season started halfway through the year, it is still the first race of the season, which
Correct.
means that, in March when they did the preseason testing, they knew that they were going to have some kind of issues. It's not as though these teams have been sitting and just working on, developments, etc., coming up to the first race of the season. They had to take a moratorium, 67 days, no working, because of COVID. So they basically came to Austria last week, and first free practice was a pure test session for them. Yeah. So as with any first race of a season in Formula One, it is going to be a race of attrition. And that's why you do get these kind of surprises. So I wasn't surprised to see as many cars actually fail due to mechanical maladies.
So I don't want to get into too much detail because obviously your show is actually airing at 7 o'clock on raceday.tv.
Yes.
So guys, please tune in to Sasha's show at 7 for all the intricate, the pit box it's called, all the intricate details and discussions. But quickly, what's your take on Hamilton versus Albon, and again not getting the oak on the podium? It was quite a tough one.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you've got to feel for Alex Albon. I mean, in the last 3 races, he's been taken out by Lewis, and in both situations, he was destined to get a podium. If anything, at this race, he could have won it because he was on the right tyre. We knew that Bottas had problems, and that Red Bull most probably could have won the race.
Yeah.
Of course, we're going to sit there and say it's a racing incident. It's not a racing incident. Lewis could have avoided that incident. He knew that Albon was past him. And if you look at all of the onboards, Albon was already past him. And if Lewis had backed off just a touch on the gas pedal, yes, I promise you they wouldn't have had the coming together. And I think that's how the stewards saw it. They gave him the 5-second penalty. It doesn't help Alex Albon. It helped other drivers. But I think the one thing or a couple of lessons that we've got to learn is these youngsters aren't going to just let Lewis get away with these kind of things, and they are going to attack. And I think it's wonderful to see the guys racing hard. These incidents are going to happen. It's not as though this is the first and the last that we're going to see of these kind of incidents. It's just unfortunate because you feel for Alex Albon. But Lewis was to blame. He could have backed off and then got a little bit more steering into that.
Let's leave all that juicy discussions for your show later. Very quickly, Leclerc, second. Nobody thought that would happen.
I was just saying just now that Charles Leclerc coming second on the podium was about as likely as the rice crop in Windhoek not failing.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? It was a Christmas in July for Ferrari, and they've got to take it. They've got massive problems, and Gary and I will discuss that later during the course of our show. But they do have serious issues. They are not on the pace at all, and they're really struggling with a difficult car. We saw it with Vettel as well. But Charles Leclerc and the team Ferrari will take it, and hopefully it gives them some kind of motivation going forward. But that was a gift, if anything.
Yeah. But just to quickly say, I think it was a gift, but at the end of the day, Sasha, I think that Charles Leclerc is really starting to demonstrate that he's one of the best brains on the grid. Say for Hamilton, for example. This guy is really strategic in the way that he approaches his racing.
Yeah, he's mature beyond his years, and I've always had not a question mark around him, Peter. But I'm still sitting and saying, listen, you've still got to prove yourself a little bit more. However, this last weekend, he never gave up. He pushed as much as he could. He had whatever strategy they had, correct. And yes, the dominoes felt in the right way for him, so he'll take it. But they know they're up against it, that's for sure.
Right, guys. I think last thing, give me your prediction. Is it going to be more of the same, or is it, seeing that it's the same track, is it going to be more of the same, or is it completely a different race this weekend?
I think it's going to be a completely different race. However, Mercedes is still the team to beat, and a wounded animal, as we know, as South Africans with the Springboks, when they go down, all of a sudden beware when they're ready to come back. Lewis Hamilton wants this victory. He's going to go out there and he's going to do everything. But, in Formula One, anything can happen.
And that's why we love it.
That's why we love it. Thank you very much, Sasha, for joining us. It was unbelievable. We'll watch your show at 7. Everybody that's watching us on raceday.tv and FS Media, FS Auto, tune in 7 o'clock, raceday.tv, the Pit Box with Sasha and Gary. See you guys later.
Cheers, Gary. Thank you so much.
Guys. Thank you. Cheers man.
Guys.
Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao.
All right, Pete. Now I've got a very, very interesting guy joining us tonight, and we're going to talk about AC and Shelby Cobras. But it's a different kind of guy because he's actually not very well known in the automotive industry. Maybe he's a little bit, but he's actually known for golf. If you Google radical golfer, you'll come up with the name Heinrich du Preez, and he's our guest tonight. Heinrich du Preez, thank you very much for joining us, and welcome to Let's Talk Automotive.
Fanie, Peter, good evening, and it's fun to talk cars for a bit, not golf.
Okay, but before we get there, I want you to tell Peter about your Guinness World Records. Talk to me quickly about some of them, not all of them.
Let's talk about one that involved a car. So, November 2018, myself and a good friend, Gunther Engels, Guinness World Record for driving a standard electric golf car 2,007 kilometers on the national roads throughout South Africa, and we managed to do that in 7 days.
Another one that interests me is playing golf on all the different continents. So what was that one that you did?
Yeah, so it's a guy called Phineas Fogg that went around the world in 80 days, and record I did it in 5 days, and I played a round of golf on each of the continents. So six continents, 5 days.
Now, some people have just terrible lives.
That's what a job. What a job. Sure. All right, back to the cars. Let's get back to the cars, guys. We're talking Cobras tonight, and you are actually the vice chairman of the Cobra Club of South Africa. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. We've got a very vibrant club for guys who own, obviously, and also for guys who love the brand and don't own the cars. They're also free to join our club. But we're very vibrant club, and we go in leaps and bounds. So,
all right. So before we get there, tonight is our first ever viewer competition. So from the Cobra shop that Heinrich that we'll talk about just now, Heinrich has given us a little bit of a goodie bag, Cobra goodie bag, and why don't you ask the viewers the question, and then viewers, you can pop your answers in the comments, and when we're done with the guessing game, the car game, then we'll choose randomly. We'll choose one of the answers, and one of these guys will be a lucky winner. So what's the question that we've got for the guys tonight?
Okay, so just to reiterate, if you put your answer in now, we're going to disqualify you. So it's got to be when we say to you, okay, go for it, put your answers in. But the question is, what does the AC in AC Cobra stand for?
All right. So there you guys have it. The question's been asked. We'll tell you just a bit later when you can answer, and then we're going to randomly choose one of you guys, and you'll be the lucky winner. So let's talk about the AC Cobra.
Wow, what an iconic car.
What a car.
I mean, it's really one of the few brands out there that genuinely commands such attention from everybody, and for such a long time. It's quite incredible.
So you've obviously got a wonderful example of the Cobra, that one with the 69, and maybe Fritz can show it quickly. Tell us about your car, Heinrich.
Yeah, so the AC in my car stands for awesome car. So that's not the correct answer, but Yeah, so my passion for the Cobra started when I was about 12 years old, and that's not my car. That's just a
That's the
replica of
model.
my
Yes.
car, the Mini Me.
Yes.
So when I was in 5, for a birthday gift, I received a scale model AC Cobra, and I've collected them ever since. And I was lucky enough about 3 years ago to get my own. And as you say, the Cobra is such a special custom vehicle that it's not that you walk into any dealership and just pick a random one and you've got a Cobra. The guys hand pick these cars. Every single car's got a number that's got some meaning. So, but my 69's got no. I can see Fanie is thinking in that in that time of 69. So, but yeah, a lot of guys put race numbers on that's got some meaning, or they put their birth year on the car. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a very special car. It's a very iconic car.
So talk to us a bit about the history. And I think Peter's got a question for you with regards to Carroll Shelby's involvement.
Yes, I mean, Carroll Shelby, we all know him as an iconic race car designer and a race driver in his own right, and he's synonymous with AC Shelby Cobra. What was his involvement? How did he become involved with the AC Cobra?
Yeah, so the AC is a company that started in the UK in 1901, and they wanted to build a car that would replicate a Ferrari, but not as a Ferrari. So the AC Ace, the car was called the AC Ace, and that was the car that replicated a Ferrari, and it was designed by a Portuguese guy who acted in Britain at the time. And Carroll Shelby decided to buy this car. Now, that car, a lot of people don't know that the car actually in 1907 came 10th overall in the 2-liter class at Le Mans, the AC Ace. And Carroll Shelby decided to import one of them into America, and he slapped a V8 engine in the car, and that's where the Cobra then was born. But the car's been there for a very long time before Carroll Shelby actually decided to put it in. So that's why you get the AC Cobra and you get the Shelby Cobra.
Awesome. And then, I mean, a lot of manufacturers have taken some of their classic vehicles and they've made modern retro versions of them. So we look at the Ford GT40 as an example. Is there any potential for AC to do the same thing with the Cobra? Can we expect a modern version of this vehicle at some stage?
Yeah, so there are a lot of concept cars out there. There's an electrician that they're busy with, but as the Cobra Club of South Africa, we will definitely go on a strike. We'll go on a drive slow with our cars from Cape Town to Pretoria. If a guy even thinks a radio in his car or putting an aircon in his car, anything like that, So for us, the real enthusiasts, it's a hardcore car. It's a convertible car. It's got a V8 engine. Sitting in the car, you can hear the engine in stereo, with both the exhausts fitted on the sides of the car. And Carroll Shelby always said you don't have too much motor in the car, you just don't have enough traction. So that's the way we roll. If you drive a Cobra, we one of those guys drive a Cobra and who stop next to a girl with a Pasola. We're in for a dice, so we literally dice everything. We like to line up these youngsters with their Honda, their little Hondas and their turbo Golfies and those things, and we just show them that a car hailing from 1962 can still produce, And I think it was a car that was at the peak of performance in the time that it came out in 1962, and as I say, just straightforward, proper V8 motor, big motor. Irrespective if you put a Chevy or a Ford, whatever you put in there, but it's a high performance car, but it still gives you that old school, and that's why you see 80 to 90% of Cobra drivers are guys who like rugby, we like braai, we just mellow dudes and we love the car. And there's so many people like Peter said earlier, if you get to a place, a Ferrari and a Cobra, guys will take pictures with the Ferrari. With the Cobra.
With the Cobra. So let's talk about the club quickly. Okay, you're the vice chairman. What can people expect? And I think Fritz is going to show us your club website and some videos maybe of the gatherings, Fritzy. So tell us a little bit about the club and what's happening there.
Yeah, so with the club, we've got weekend runs where we come together and we go to places like Harties to just go and have a breakfast and just drive out. All these cars are convertible, so the outdoor thing in the sun, that's what we're all about. We go to big shows. We had cars in the park. We go to Kyalami Race Day, and members of our club can come and join us. We year-end function yearly. We've got concourse events, track days. So for the track days, we get our cars and we go to Swartkops or we go to Kyalami, one of these places, and the guys can literally just go and enjoy their cars. So our entire club is built around the family vibe. We prize, we do weekends away. Once a year we pick a spot, we get all our cars and we drive down to Durban. We've been to Backdraft in KZN where they actually build some of these cars, and it's all about having fun with our cars and getting to meet nice people. I think most of the people who say this country is very nice. The video that you see on the screen now is our yearly concourse. That was our event last year, and at 12 o'clock in the afternoon we've got the customary start up where we start about 60 V8 cars on the same premises. Yes. And that is something to behold.
I'm sure. So a very stupid question. Do you have to own one to be in this club, be part of this club?
Yeah, so we're similar to the Ferrari club. So if you're a fan, you can join. Our membership is only 735 Rand. And, I'm from Witbank, so I'm very good at math. And if you take the 735 divided by 12 divided by 31 days, it works out to 22 per day. So, it's a very affordable club. 735 Rand per year. You can join us on our runs. You can be a part of it. You can have a cap and a shirt. All of that you can buy in the online shop. So, yeah, we welcome anybody who loves this iconic brand to become a member of the club.
Okay, awesome. So the reason why we got you on is that you guys you just launched the Cobra shop. And I think it launched on Monday morning. So let's talk about that. And Fritzy will show us again. This is the website. So here we can go through the shop. And again, there's a place for members and non-members to shop.
Yeah, so as they've decided to put some of our club-specific merchandise available to members, so that if you want to feel like you want to belong to our club and you just want to have a cap or something, you're not really in for the membership, you're more than welcome to go on our online shop. And we've got a lot of items. We've got, we are Shelby American approved, so we've got a license to sell these products. And then, if you join our membership, then you can actually go and buy our signature range stuff. And then you can see on the screen now, we also allow members to sell their cars, and members of the public, if they've got a Cobra that they want to sell or they want to buy, they can jump onto our website, cobrashop.co.za, and they can see cars there. They can interact with us. We're always there to answer the question. A lot of guys want to build these cars themselves, and we've got dedicated people who've done this before who can actually assist you on where to get the best motor, where to get the best body. We can literally help you with everything. We've also got a Facebook page of about 2,500 friends on our Facebook page. And, we're a community. We're not just a club. We see ourselves as a big family who love the brand.
Well, absolutely awesome. Congratulations, first of all, with the new shop, and all the best of luck with that. But we've now come to my favorite part of the game, or show, should I say, is the game, the Guess the Car game.
It's not my favorite part of the show. I just want to put it out there. I'm actually getting cut full of it.
So I'm not going to give you guys any tips tonight, but if you watch the show recently, then you'll see where we're going. I just want to mention quickly before we get into the game, all the viewers. I've got Fran Senecal, Carmen Viljoen is actually watching with us. Jenny Radley's on, Akash Becken is on, Leon Pfeiffer. Thank you very much, guys. And just after the game, we're going to open up the questions or the comments answer, for your answer. So the question was, what does the AC stand for in AC Cobra?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so after this game, I'm going to let you know, and then let's see if you can get your answers in. So are you guys ready for Guess the Car? Heinrich, you ready?
Do you want to explain the rules?
Yeah, please explain the rules.
The rules are you're not allowed to answer, mate.
So the rules are: I'm going to show you a little portion of a car. If you know the answer, shout your name. I'll come to you. If your answer is correct, you'll get a point. There's 6 cars, and here comes the first one.
Peter,
Okay, Peter, what is that?
that is a Ford Mustang.
Be a little bit more specific.
My mic
A
was
white
muted
Ford
there.
Mustang.
Oh, was your mic muted?
Yeah.
All right. This is indeed the Shelby Mustang, the GT350. So I'm going to give Pete half a point because he just said Ford Mustang, not GT350.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Well done. Congratulations.
Okay, here's the second one. Heinrich,
Peter.
Heinrich, no,
427, 426.
Heinrich got that one first. Let's
Yes,
see if that's
yeah.
right. Repeat your answer, Heinrich.
That's either an AC Cobra or a Shelby Cobra. It's either built by Super Performance or it's built by Backdraft. It's a 1962 to 1964 model, and it's got a 350 small book shaking.
Yeah, I knew that, of course. I was just giving Heinrich a chance.
Okay, one point each. 1 point each. Okay, let's go to the next one.
How did he get to 1 point?
Because I was kicking him under the table here.
All right, let's see the next. Let's see the next one. Heinrich, what do you think that is?
That looks like GT40.
Well done, mate.
Wow. That
Well
was a
done,
good one.
mate. So can you guys
That
see
looks
there's
like
a
Carol
trend?
Shelby in a pink shirt.
Can you guys see the trend here? This is all Shelby cars. So and that you will need for the next 3. Okay.
Cool.
The next one is not City Golf. So here you go. Here you go.
Come on. I mean,
Heinrich, are you still there, Bree?
Yes, I'm here. I'm trying to figure out. That looks like some family wagon thing.
It's definitely a Shelby car.
I've got no idea. I'll throw in the towel.
Okay. Heinrich, do you know?
Yeah, just move that picture a little bit more. That looks like Shelby GLHS.
You know, that's minus 1 point.
Okay, so this is a Dodge Omni,
What?
a GLHS, also a Shelby version. Can you believe it? I was completely shocked this morning when I saw this one. So we are still 2-1, Heinrich at this stage. Very, very close game.
That is the Shelby Cobra, the Russian version.
Okay, so along the trend here is the 5th and second to last vehicle for you to see.
Really? That looks like a Bucky.
It's a Shelby vehicle.
A Shelby Bucky. Peter, Shelby Bucky.
No, be more specific.
Oh.
All right, Heinrich, I think that is the Shelby, the Shelby Ford F-150.
No. Good guess though, because it is a Bucky. No, you can't run through all the Ford models, Bree.
No, but I'm going to claim half a point here.
Okay, anybody? Anybody?
Got no idea.
Okay, so we're still 2-1 to Heinrich. This is the Dodge Dakota, also a Shelby conversion. Can you believe this?
You know what?
No,
at this stage, I believe anything.
I did a lot of research for this show tonight. Okay, the last one you guys will definitely. So again, Peter will have a chance to tie this up, or Heinrich will take it 3-1. Here comes the last one, guys.
Peter?
Ooh, that was so close. Fritz, who was first? Heinrich was first. Heinrich, what do you think that is?
That's Shelby Mustang Fastback.
Yeah, what year model?
It looks like that can be like a 1986.
No.
If I look at that tire tread, the tire tread, that's probably a Goodyear tire, and it's a 235 50.
You're putting me up against a guy who can identify a car from the tire tread.
This is a 2006 Shelby Mustang GTH. All right, guys.
Thank you
So
very much.
I'm
Well
going to
done.
give it.
Thank you.
I'm going to give it to. I'm going to give it to Heinrich at 2-1. Let's disregard the
Yeah,
last
the
three.
reason why he's giving it to me, he wants to play golf with me next week and he wants me to pay for it. It's funny, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Heinrich, let's open up. So we've asked a question for the viewers tonight. What does the AC in AC Cobra stand for? Viewers, you can now comment and throw in your answers and we'll randomly pick one of you guys just now. Heinrich, thank you very much for joining us and telling us about the Cobras and the club and the shop. Well done, mate, and looking forward to everything that's coming up on your side.
Thank you, Fanie. Thank you, Peter. Because my Cobra is a two-seater, I've got space for one for a test drive. So you fight it out. I would like to take Peter since he lost the game, and make him a winner again. So then, Fanie, you can be. I love your show, and as the Cobra Club, we really appreciate the exposure, and we would like to see you guys at an track event. But thank you very much. We really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Heinrich.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Heinrich, for joining us.
Cheers.
All right. So let's see what happened with the comments. Okay, so I've got 4 answers. And I think we're going to give it to, let's pick a number quickly.
Between one and what?
1 and 4.
3.
3. Okay, so 3 we are going to Dash Becken, auto carriers, and she Googled it.
Well, we that's cool. I mean, we didn't say they couldn't Google it. So, I mean, fair play.
Well done, Dash, and thank you for watching. You've won that hamper from the Cobra shop with the compliments of Heinrich du Preez and the Cobra shop. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll make contact and make sure you get your gifts. All right, let's move on to the last segment of tonight's show with Professor Peter Viljoen. And this is a question that I've had over and over in my years of selling cars, because the gearbox that we're talking about tonight has become more and more popular.
Yeah, the CVT.
The CVT gearbox. People don't know what a CVT gearbox is. Is it a gearbox? Is it a belt? Is it a cone thing? So we've asked Professor Peter to tell us all about the CVT transmission. Let's have a look.
Welcome to another edition of How It Works, and today we're going to talk about the mysterious gearbox, the CVT. So what does CVT stand for? Well, it stands for Continuously Variable Transmission. Now, it's slightly different from any other automatics that you might have come across. So a traditional automatic uses planetary gears to achieve its gear ratios. A CVT uses a much more interesting way to develop its gear ratios. Now, one of the things that you might not know about a CVT is that it in fact provides you with an infinite number of gear ratios. Now, here's the rub. Because we have this infinite number of gear ratios and a very seamless way of achieving these gear ratios, a lot of people feed back to us that they don't like a CVT gearbox, which is very disappointing, because ultimately I believe that a CVT gearbox really solves a number of problems when it comes to automatic transmissions. The first is it's much cheaper than a traditional automatic gearbox. So for smaller vehicles where price sensitivity is the name of the game, it's very difficult to put an automatic gearbox into those vehicles without making the price obscene. Whereas a CVT, because of its excellent pricing, makes it a much more viable option to place in there. So you get the best of both worlds in terms of an automatic gearbox, but at the right price. The second thing with the CVT gearbox is that it's got remarkable fuel consumption figures. So a current CVT gearbox, the modern CVT gearboxes, actually have the same fuel consumption that you'd get out of a manual. So really a win-win situation. The third thing is that a CVT gearbox actually gives you better performance. So if we do a 0 to 100 test with two of the same vehicles, one with a CVT gearbox in it and the other one with a traditional planetary gearbox, the CVT will actually win. And in fact, Williams Formula One did a trial with the CVT gearbox in one of their Formula One cars. And the fact is that it was about 2 seconds a lap quicker than with the traditional gearbox, and it was immediately banned because it was such a competitive advantage. So believe me when I tell you that the performance is there. So why do people not like it? Well, I think the fact is that because you don't feel gear changes, this kind of gives you the effect or the feeling that the car's not going anywhere. And the way I like to explain that is that if we took a sports car and put it on a runway and we accelerated it from 0 to 300 with a traditional gearbox, you'd feel all those gear changes. Now sit yourself in an aeroplane and accelerate from 0 to 300 over the same distance, you could quite happily sip on your martinis if the air hostess allowed you without it spilling on you, because there's no gearbox in an aircraft. It is simply the turbine spinning up that's giving us the seamless acceleration. So that's the same effect. And I think what a lot of people do is, because they feel like the vehicle's not accelerating hard, they then tend to press the accelerator even harder. And when we do that, we're telling the gearbox that we're trying to overtake. And so of course the gearbox is now going to increase its revs so that it can accommodate an overtaking maneuver. So if you want to get the best out of your CVT, all you've got to do is just drive the car normally. If you feel like the revs are too high, you can just come back slightly on the accelerator and everything will settle and you'll have a very, very comfortable drive in the vehicle. But the manufacturers have compensated for that in any case, because what they do with the CVT is they have put paddle shifts on the steering wheels to give you this manual effect. So now instead of having this seamless shift in gear ratios, we now step that shift in gear ratios so that you can have that feeling. And I've got to say that it's almost the reason why I believe aliens haven't made contact with us, because we've taken a perfectly functional gearbox and we've actually reduced its effectiveness just to satisfy this over here. So the CVT gearbox has actually come a long way over the years. Like anything in engineering, there's been improvements. There's been improvements in the design. There's been improvements in the software itself. And I think that these days, it's very difficult ultimately to tell the difference between a CVT and a traditional automatic gearbox. All right, so let's have a look at what a CVT gearbox actually looks like. Now, there are two types that we get. This is the most common, and here we have two variators or pulleys that are hydraulically actuated. And what they do is that when we want to change the gear ratio, very similar to how you would imagine this on your bicycle, between your front and rear gears on your bicycle, what we want to do is we want to increase the actual ratio that this belt is running at here and decrease it over here to create certain gear ratios. And the way we do that is by literally squeezing this belt, which forces it to ride up. So if we have a look at this animation, you'll see how the belt either rides up or rides down depending on how much we've squeezed or lessened the pressure on that belt. Now, there is a second type of gearbox, that is a CVT gearbox, that is used predominantly by the Japanese manufacturers. And here we have these rollers that actually swivel up and down along these surfaces over here. And at the point of contact over here, you can see they now create their various gear ratios. This one actually is quite a nice version because it gives you that feeling of a bit more direct effect. When you are pressing your accelerator, you can feel it in the gearbox immediately. Now, I wanted to go back to the original one because that's the most popular one that's used by the manufacturers. And as we've seen, it's basically two pulleys and a belt. But what you may not know is that this belt has a very specific way of working. You would think that the pulley grabs onto the belt and that the belt pulls to turn the pulley. But if we did that, we'd have to have an enormous amount of pressure between the two surfaces of the pulley, which would create a lot of noise, a lot of heat, and a lot of wear and tear. So that wouldn't make it reliable. So in fact, what this belt does is it pushes into the pulley to make the pulley turn. Now, we've got to maybe just think about this for a second in terms of how it works, but it's remarkably simple. So we have a whole lot of these plates or elements over here, thousands of them, that are actually all loose and are able to slide up and down on the main bearing or bands over here. Now, if you can imagine my fingers, and they represent these plates. When I want the belt to turn, I open up the plates so that it can turn. But when they go into a straight line, all these belts pack together again and actually make a solid rod-like effect that now pushes into the pulley and makes a turn. And the reason why that's effective is because it requires far less pressure to push something in to the pulley to cause it to turn than to grip it and pull it. All right, and here we have the final product. And here you can see our push belt with those thousands of plates in them. And our pulleys over here, our variators as we call them, because they actually squeeze the belt to cause it to ride up and down. This is a fantastic gearbox at the end of the day. It really does satisfy everything that we need out of a gearbox. It gives us the best fuel consumption that we can get out of an automatic transmission. If we just learn how to drive this gearbox and understand the fact that it is not a planetary gearbox, just like a manual is not. So they all have different driving styles. If you can just get used to the driving style of this, you'll actually have a pretty rewarding drive. You'll have great fuel consumption. And at the end of the day, this is at the right price. So that's the CVT gearbox. Join us again next week for our next segment on how things work.
Professor Peter Viljoen explaining the CVT gearbox. Thank you very much, Pete. That was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I must just say, one of the things that's a bit of a throwback to my youth, there was a program on TV called Beyond 2000. I don't know if some of you remember it. And they featured the CVT gearbox in the early 80s on this program as this is a technology that's going to be applied to a car in the future.
Yes.
And guess what? They've been around for over 20 years already. How old are we getting?
We are getting old. So that's the show tonight. Let's Talk Automotive episode 13. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, guys. And next week, we are speaking to Les McMaster, and we're talking right to repair.
Yes, right to repair is, I suppose, a very controversial subject within the motor industry. I think there's a lot of trepidation, perhaps anxiety from some of the franchised dealerships out there. And it's awesome that we're going to have them on the show. They're going to be able to explain to us exactly what the motives are for right to repair, explain how it's going to work, and maybe settle some of the nerves of the franchise dealers out there. And I think this is going to be a solution that's really going to be good for everybody.
Cool. Well, there you have it. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. It was fun. And we'll see you again next week. Same time, same place. Let's Talk Automotive. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.